I don't know about you, but I'm struggling to find any full throttling going on as we still anxiously await the Boston Red Sox to make a big splash in the offseason.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Hurlbut, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox straight to your favorite podcast feed for free. You get so much free content, you might as well take advantage of it, right? So start your day off right with the Locked On Red Sox podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Welcome to another episode of the show where we still anxiously await the Red Sox to make a big offseason splash. There's been a lot of rumors about Yamamoto, a little bit of excitement that went on late last week regarding the Red Sox offer of $300 million plus with incentives. And then Jeff Passan confirmed on Twitter on Monday that none of those rumors of any offers that were made were true because the bidding actually starts now. So this is really when his free agency period is going to pick up. Whether other players sign before him, I'm not confident in that. I'm hoping the Red Sox have some sort of contingency plan in place for if they don't land him, because you know what's going to happen. If they don't land Yamamoto, they could miss out on other opportunities. I'm going to be diving into that on a little bit later on today's show. But first, I need to extend a huge congratulations to Jonathan Papelbon and Trot Nixon, who both will be joining Dustin Pedroia in the Red Sox Hall of Fame class of 2024. Very exciting. Jonathan Papelbon is an absolute legend, the Red Sox all-time leading closer. We were spoiled, really, having him because the Red Sox haven't had a closer of his caliber since then. And also one of the grittiest players to wear the Boston Red Sox uniform in right fielder, Trot Nixon. Two guys who are absolute legends in Boston that are being inducted to the Red Sox Hall of Fame alongside Dustin Pedroia, who actually received an automatic election during his retirement ceremony at Fenway Park back in 2021. So those three, the dynamic trio, are the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame class for 2024. Nixon and Papelbon were basically voted in by a panel that included a mix of Red Sox broadcasters and executives, past and present media personnel, and representatives from the New England Sports Museum and the Bo Sox Booster Club. So a lot of different people that were really involved in this. And Jonathan Papelbon actually took to Twitter to react to the news. He said, "It is an honor to be inducted to Red Sox Hall of Fame today with Trot and Dustin, two of the best teammates you could ask for, who played every out with integrity and respect. Blessed and thankful." He's so right when he says that. These are three players that you're never going to forget when you think about the Boston Red Sox. They're three players that if you're a lifelong Red Sox fan, you'll always associate with the team. And it's cool to have that type of recognition. Basically, how it works to get into the Hall of Fame is players must have played at least 3 years with the Red Sox to be eligible for nomination and must also have been out of uniform as an active player for at least 3 years. So they can't have played in any games in 3 years. The Red Sox elect Hall of Famers every 2 years, and the original plan was for Pedroia to be part of ceremonies in 2022. but the 2020 class, which was the class that included Big Papi and Manny Ramirez, was postponed until 2022 due to COVID. So now Pedroia's induction was moved back to 2024, and he's really close friends with Jonathan Papelbon, so I'm sure he really appreciates the opportunity to be inducted in with him. This is a man he teamed up with to help guide the Red Sox to that World Series championship in 2007. Oh my gosh, great times in Boston were to be had then. I can't help but smile even thinking about it now. And Trot Nixon, he was a key member of the Red Sox 04 championship, just that legendary run that the team made. He also played with Papelbon and Pedroia in 06, which was his final year in Boston. So they all have a pretty close relationship with each other, and it's always cool to accomplish something like a Hall of Fame bid with friends. Induction events will open with the Fenway Honors event on May 29th at a location that still hasn't been determined yet. But keeping in line with past tradition, that event will be a fundraiser for the Red Sox Foundation. And then the fun will continue with ceremonies honoring the inductees prior to the Tigers-Red Sox game on May 30th. So be sure to get tickets to that game. Save that date if you are interested, because how cool of an experience would that be to get to see the ceremony honoring the inductees. Also, in addition to those 3 player inductees, Billy Rohr will be recognized for his one-hitter in 1967 that took place in his first major league start. Elston Howard, the widely respected catcher who broke up the no-hitter with 2 outs in the 9th at Yankee Stadium, wound up joining that impossible dream Boston team down the stretch of that season. So it's pretty ironic, but it should be a good time going to that ceremony, seeing some legendary Red Sox players be honored into the team's Hall of Fame. I wonder if that means they'll retire Pedroia's number at that time. I can only hope so. He deserves it. He has been an absolute legend just for Boston. Great guy on and off the field. And it's just really unfortunate the way his career ended. I still don't forgive Manny Machado, nor will I ever. I think Pedroia just was such on the fast track to having an unbelievable end to his career had that not happened. Nixon had a knack for playing Fenway's right field with pretty much a lot of ease. And he had a knack for coming up with that big hit when the Red Sox needed it most. He smashed a 2-run double with the count 3-0 that wound up being the key hit in the World Series clinching Game 4 against the Cardinals in 04, which was obviously the first championship the Red Sox won since 1918. And then when the Red Sox were in the process of bouncing back from that 0-3 deficit in the ALCS to the Yankees, he made a pair of game-saving diving catches in Game 5, which was that 14-inning thrilling game. Oh my gosh, the anxiety during that series, I just can't even relive. Papelbon's impressive rookie year in 2006 certainly made a mark for him. .92 earned run average with 35 saves. He was in top form the next season, saving 37 more games for the World Series champions. He ultimately notched a team record 219 saves over 393 relief appearances for Boston. If the Red Sox got somebody like that again in the future, I'd be so grateful, but his stuff was one of a kind. He's one of the best closers to ever do it. And as a Red Sox fan, we should be grateful to have been able to watch him play for Boston. And Dustin Pedroia goes without saying, just an absolute great clubhouse leader and great guy all around. Even people who aren't Red Sox fans a lot of times just said they loved the way that he approached the game of baseball, because he played it with such integrity and was just a good role model for the game itself, and obviously was just a fantastic player as well. So very well deserving guys here getting into the Red Sox Hall of Fame. Be sure to buy your tickets for that May 30th game so you don't have to miss the ceremony for these players, because these are what Red Sox baseball is all about, producing players like that, absolute legends who love the game of baseball and just make the Boston Red Sox continue to be one of those marquee franchises. So mark your calendar, be there. I certainly will be doing my best to be there as well. Things have certainly changed since those good old days of Boston Red Sox baseball with those legends. Coming up, I'm going to be discussing a little quote that the Red Sox got that should make the front office feel a little bit uneasy, to say the least. Do you really enjoy sports betting? Are you one of those people who likes to come up with bets every day or find new bets to make every day? If so, FanDuel has you covered. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. There's not really much else like FanDuel. It gives you so many opportunities to win a variety of different things. I know a lot of people who are just getting into sports betting as of recently, and I always recommend FanDuel because you can make a ton of different bets, and if you lose money somewhere, you can make up for it somewhere else if you make the right bet elsewhere. So head to FanDuel.com/lockedon today. Lock in those bets. You certainly won't be disappointed with what it offers. Also, you can download the SiriusXM app because you can get the home broadcast of every Red Sox game straight to your phone, so you don't have to worry about missing a single pitch. If you can't watch the game live, you can at least listen to it by downloading SiriusXM app today, so make sure that you do that as well. So Ken Rosenthal obviously is a prominent figure in the baseball world. He's one of the most trusted sources for breaking news or deals that do come out. He's one of the accounts who I constantly find myself refreshing his Twitter page for to see if he has any updates. Him and Jeff Passan, they're like the kings of breaking baseball news, the two that I trust the most, more so than any other baseball personality to break news like that. So he's a very knowledgeable guy who understands the sport and has a lot of inside knowledge and scoop about organizations and different teams across the league. Well, on his podcast on Monday, he called the Boston Red Sox the Dorks of the Week, in quotes, literally, quote, Dorks of the Week, word for word. And honestly, I don't blame him. That is so incredibly accurate right now, because when he said that, the context was along the lines of, well, they were talking about going full throttle this offseason, and they haven't really done any throttling. And it's true. Before the offseason started, when the Red Sox brought in Craig Breslow and they were talking about what they have for their goals for the team and what they want to do moving forward to keep this team at a sense of relevancy and get them back to being a top contending team in the league. They were saying that's going to start with going full throttle this offseason, making the types of moves that need to be made in order to put them in the best place to contend again. And so far, they've been pretty radio silent on that front. The only major acquisition they've made so far is by acquiring outfielder Tyler O'Neill via trade. And granted, that was not a bad move at all. Like, I'm not trashing that move by Boston. I think he's a good player. Certainly an upgrade from Alex Verdugo. Gold Glover can be an MVP caliber hitter because his bat is very friendly for Fenway Park, and he can absolutely smash baseballs there. He has an injury problem the last couple seasons, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. But if he can stay healthy, he could be a solid add-on to a lineup that really needed some more right-handed hitting to help balance it out. So I do like that move. But other than that, the Red Sox have been making a couple smaller moves to add to their minor league teams and continue to build up that farm system, which there's nothing wrong with. I have zero problem with that. I actually think it's a good idea and makes sense to want to continue to build that farm system and acquire some players that you can eventually use in trades, or you can eventually bring up to the majors and can be a key piece to the team moving forward. That's all acceptable to me. But at the same time, those are not moves that the Red Sox can sit here and say are considered going full throttle. Going full throttle to me means going out, being aggressive on that pitching market, dishing out a ton of money to get the pitching staff back to where it needs to be, or acquiring players in trades that are going to help set you up for success right now. And obviously, the Red Sox are in this position now where they have a transition going on with Craig Breslow coming in and this being his first time in this position. So he's probably still learning the ropes about his responsibilities and what needs to be done. So you have to expect there's a transition period with that. But at the same time, the Red Sox can't come out and say point blank, we are going full throttle this offseason with Craig Breslow at the helm, and then so far not having made those full throttle types of moves. Now, this isn't to say it won't happen, because I feel like there's still a good chance that Yamamoto's market is holding up everything else to the point where until he signs, no other big free agent starting pitchers will sign. And if that's the case and the Red Sox miss out on Yamamoto, then they could pivot in a different direction. And Yamamoto's sweepstakes really seem to be just heating up now, according to Jeff Passan. It seems like the bids are starting to file in now for him, which is really when the negotiations and everything are really starting to be worked out. Even though there were rumors that there were offers on the table from a variety of teams, that doesn't necessarily mean that those are final offers from anybody. And he might be in the process of scheduling second meetings with teams that he sees as finalists. And I'm hoping, obviously, the Red Sox are in that mix. That is the huge piece the Red Sox need. But say they miss out on him, or they give him what he's looking for, but then comfortability-wise, he decides he wants to go elsewhere. Then you can't be mad at the Red Sox for that, because at least then you know that they've done what they can to try to go out and get him. And even if they miss out, but they're willing to spend the same amount of money and match offers that other teams are giving him, then you can feel a little bit better about how the rest of their offseason might go. Now, if they miss out on him because they weren't willing to go high enough money-wise, then I'm going to be really mad, because that shows me that the Red Sox are still hesitant to go out and spend money, which completely contradicts everything they said about going full throttle. There's a lot they still need to do in order to say that they actually did go out and go full throttle, because right now I have no faith that the full throttle thing is really what we're all thinking it is. It might be a move where they trade for a good starting pitcher and that's it for them, and that's considered their full throttle. I don't think one arm is enough. They need at least two. And my question is, do they have a contingency plan in place for if they miss out on Yamamoto? There's other options in free agency. They can look into Jordan Montgomery. They can look into Blake Snell. I know it's been talked about that those are some options the Red Sox potentially could be interested in. There's Imanaga, another high caliber Japanese pitcher who has good stuff, but has kind of been overshadowed a little bit because of Yamamoto, but he could be a fit. So I hope that if the Red Sox do miss out on Yamamoto, that they have some sort of plan in place for where they're going to pivot next. Because the last thing that you would want is for them to miss out on Yamamoto and then have to scramble to try to sign somebody else to take that spot on the roster. And then all the big pitching arms that they would have hoped for are gone. So they need to have their own contingency plan and say, hey, what do we want to pivot to if we miss out on Yamamoto? And I haven't heard reports about what that's going to be yet, but they do need to figure that out soon. And that might mean signing a couple other free agents and being willing to spend a little bit more than what they were hoping to on maybe a number 2 starting pitcher, or they head to the trade market. And coming up, I'm going to be talking about a pitcher who potentially could be on the trade market and could be a good fit for Boston. I have a very exciting announcement for you. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. This is very exciting for Locked On because no other network has a 24/7 sports streaming service like this. So if you ever are feeling like you might miss something sports related, or you can't go on Twitter to get your news, then you can hit up the Locked On Sports Today YouTube channel and get all of the latest information and not feel like you have to worry about missing anything. So subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube. You certainly won't be disappointed there. Also, don't forget to download the SiriusXM app to your phone because you can get the home broadcast of every Red Sox game, so you don't have to miss anything or any of the action. But if you have a long day at work and have to stay late and you're annoyed because you didn't want to work overtime that day, and then you were hoping to get home for the start of the game because it's going to be a good one against a good team, and you aren't able to get home in time for the start of it, that's where the SiriusXM app can really come in handy. All you do is just search Red Sox on there, and you can get the home broadcast of every game and not have to worry about it. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at GabbyHurlbutt10 and follow the show on Twitter at LO_Red Sox. We can talk more Red Sox baseball. I promise you, you should absolutely do that. And you can also interact with and meet more Red Sox fans. So who wouldn't want to do that? What will the Red Sox do to improve their pitching staff in 2024? That's the age-old question right now that people, including myself, are asking. And one of the options that could be considered is the trade market. There have been big names mentioned as potential trade pieces. And Framber Valdez is a pitcher that could make a ton of sense for Boston. Multiple teams have been monitoring the situation of the Astros ace and believe that Houston's front office could potentially move him in an effort to get below the luxury tax. Valdez is expected to earn $12.1 million in arbitration this season before becoming a free agent after 2025. Houston's motivation for trading him away, because he has been a key piece of their sustained success, is twofold. Basically, the Astros can climb back below the luxury tax threshold by offloading the lefty's salary, and they're also hoping to restock a farm system that ranked dead last in baseball in 2023, which is to be expected. I mean, they traded away a lot of their prospects to get themselves at the place that they're at now. So if they're looking to get under the tax and restock the farm system, it could make sense for them to explore options with Valdez. In that same ranking that put the Astros farm system at the bottom, they put the Red Sox farm system at number 16. The Red Sox don't have the best pitching in their farm system right now, but they do have a surplus of bats and could move a couple of those guys to bring Valdez in. Eventually, they're going to have to make some hard decisions anyway on which prospects they see being a part of the future of the franchise and which ones they don't. And if there are guys who are talented and they don't see being part of the franchise long term, those are the guys they should be looking to move. Now, Valdez is somebody who probably would cost a little bit more. Probably would take a couple prospects and likely an MLB caliber player in the deal, but the Red Sox could get that done and not give themselves a huge step back. Valdez has been a consistent presence at the top of the Astros rotation the past few seasons. and he earned back-to-back All-Star game bids, also finishing 9th in the Cy Young voting in 2023. In his last 3 seasons, he put together a 40-23 record, a .313 earned run average, and 8.74 strikeouts per 9 innings that he averaged. He's just been a super reliable pitcher for them, and the Red Sox need reliability. They need pitchers who aren't going to come in and be inconsistent on a regular basis, guys who are going to be at the top of that rotation and are going to be confident and can eat up innings for Boston. He's 30 years old now, so if the Red Sox do pull off a trade for him, he would unquestionably be their number 1 starter unless they were to get Yamamoto. So if they miss out on Yamamoto, Valdez could be an option. Supposedly, the Orioles and Cubs are also expected to be in contention for him. But with a team that has some talent to work with in the farm system now, they could make a trade like that. And if they were to trade for Valdez, that would show me that the Red Sox aren't being too prospect heavy and aren't trying too hard to protect every prospect that they have in the system. And if they show that they're willing to part ways with talented prospects, even ones who were talked about a lot and had a lot of hype surrounding them, if the Red Sox don't see them as part of the future of the franchise, then they can use guys like that in a trade. And if they do that, I would start to feel better about the direction of this organization long term, because right now they still haven't done a whole lot yet this offseason to show how serious they really are about this full throttle competing thing. And they need to just simply make more moves in order for me to feel confident in that and feel like they will actually make that happen. And Valdez could be a good start. I've also talked about on this show Corbin Burnes from the Brewers. He's a guy who could very much be moved this offseason. The Red Sox should be looking at guys like this. To my understanding, they've also tried to reach out to the Mariners about a couple of their young pitchers, but the Mariners turned them down. So hopefully the Red Sox have better packages in place that they could present to these teams if they are interested in a trade. Because at the end of the day, what it's going to come down to is, do you land Yamamoto, in which case, yes, great. Then maybe you sign somebody else like a Montgomery or a Blake Snell to be that number 2 guy out of the rotation. I don't think it should just be Yamamoto one and done. I think it should be him and another arm. But then if you do miss out on him and you go to the trade market, you can still be in good shape from a pitching standpoint compared to the rest of the division. Because if they do miss out on Yamamoto, I absolutely would not hate having Corbin Burnes or Framber Valdez in this rotation, because either of those guys will give you consistency, they'll give you the longevity, and will be that guy at the top of the rotation that the Red Sox need. If they do land Yamamoto, they don't necessarily need to trade for one of those guys, because Yamamoto is that number 1 guy, that ace that they've been coveting for a while. But I do still think it's worth then signing a number 2 regardless. So they still need 2 frontline starters to me. How they go about it, I'm open to, but I think we'll know more once Yamamoto's deal happens. I don't think the Red Sox want to go make a trade right now for Valdez or for Corbin Burnes without knowing what Yamamoto's decision is, because if they do that, that would basically send the message that they're out of the running for Yamamoto and not as interested. But I think they truly are interested. So hopefully they show that interest. And if it's not him, it needs to be somebody who's a true frontline starting pitcher, because as far as I'm concerned, actions speak a lot louder than words. And their actions so far this offseason have not shown much that they are really going full throttle like John Henry and company said that they were going to do. So it now comes down to, they're on the clock. Are they going to take advantage of that? Or are they going to just roll with what they have going into the season and prepare for what could potentially be a disaster? Guess we'll find out soon enough, right? Don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Sports today on YouTube, as Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. It's so exciting. You can now get caught up on all things sports and not have to worry about a single thing, no matter what time zone you're in. It's a 24/7 stream. So if you're subscribed to Locked On Sports today and you don't have time to scroll through Twitter to catch up on everything, it will give you those updates that you need daily. So subscribe on YouTube to Locked On Sports today, and also download the SiriusXM app, where you can get the home broadcast of every Red Sox game to your phone so you don't have to miss a single pitch. You certainly won't be disappointed with that either. It's a nice feeling if you know that you're not going to have to miss anything. So download the SiriusXM app today and search Red Sox. That way you'll be all ready to go for the time the 2024 season starts. As always, take care, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.